All right, so let's get into this stack of articles you sent me about Christmas carols. You really want to dive deep into their history, and well, let me just say this: getting to the heart of these carols is a deep dive into a world of twists and turns you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, it really is. What gets me is that these songs we think of as like church songs and for holiday gatherings actually come from, well, they started out in pubs. Would you believe it?
Pubs, really?
Yeah.
I always thought carols were all about like peace on earth and goodwill and all that.
Right. But the word carol, it actually refers to a dance, dancing in a ring. And that points to them being lively folk songs originally. And those, well, they didn't always have the most polished lyrics.
Like I saw three ships, right? Those ships sailing to Bethlehem, which anyone with a map knows is totally landlocked. It does make you wonder how those folk songs became the carols we know today.
It was gradual, for sure, but the big change came in the late 19th century. Edward White Benson,
Hmm.
he later became the Archbishop of Canterbury. Well, he started the Christmas Carol service back in 1880. Basically, he brought carols into the church.
So one guy just decided carols belonged in church, and boom, that was it. Seems like a pretty big change in in how things were done.
Yeah, it was, and maybe not so surprising if you look at the Archbishop's family history. They were, how do I put this? A pretty unconventional bunch. His wife, well, she had relationships with a lot of women,
Hmm.
and his sons, well, let's just say they were known for being, a little unconventional themselves.
Hold on. So the guy who made carols a church thing, his family was uh, not exactly following all the rules. That's kind of ironic, don't you think? It makes you wonder if his family life played a part in wanting to bring new stuff like these rowdy pub songs into the church. Like, was he trying to shake things up?
It's an interesting thought. Maybe he saw a connection between the energy in these folk songs and the need for a more lively form of worship.
Okay, that's pretty fascinating. So we've got pub songs turning into sacred hymns, thanks to an archbishop with a colorful family life. What else is there?
Well, how about "Hark, the Herald Angels Sing"? You know that one, right? The classic Christmas hymn. But it actually started out as a poem by Charles Wesley. He was one of the guys who started Methodism, and the first line was "Hark, how all the welkin rings."
Welkin. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a word you don't hear every day.
Yeah, it's an old word for the sky or heaven. So Wesley's version was like, "Listen to how the heavens are ringing," but another preacher, this guy named George Whitefield, he decided to change it. He made it "Hark, the herald angels sing." But if you think about it, it's kind of strange because the Bible says the angels spoke; they didn't actually sing.
So we're singing about angels singing, but they were really just talking.
Sounds like someone was getting a little creative with the story. What did Wesley think about that change?
Oh, he hated it. But get this. The one we sing today is Whitefield's version, the one he hated. And it gets even weirder. The tune. It's from Felix Mendelssohn, who said he did not want his music used for religion. And then he died without ever even hearing it as a carol.
Wow, what a story. It makes you think about all the little changes that happen over time, even to like a Christmas carol, like a big game of telephone, but with centuries and hymns instead of whispers.
Exactly. And speaking of weird twist, how about Good King Wenceslas? The guy in that carol wasn't even a king. He was Duke Vaclav of Bohemia, a real guy, but from the 10th century.
Okay, so good Duke Vaclav doesn't have the same ring to it, but what's the deal with this Duke turned king? What's his story?
Well, Vaclav was known for, for helping the poor,
Hmm.
but his life was not simple. Lots of drama. It all started with his family. His mom, she was pagan, had his grandmother, who was Christian, strangled. Yikes. That's a bit dark for a Christmas carol, wouldn't you say? Talk about family problems. It gets worse, right? Oh, yeah, much worse. Vaclav ended up exiling his own mother. Then his brother Boleslaus, this guy they called Boleslaus the Cruel, he killed him. And even his loyal page, this guy Potovin, he was killed trying to get revenge for Vaclav. Wow. So much tragedy for a song we think of as all about, snow and good cheer. Is there anything about Good King Wenceslas that isn't full of drama and death?
Well, there's the tune. It was originally a Finnish spring song, and it wasn't put together with Vaclav's story until like centuries later, and nobody knows why, really.
So we've got this song about a duke who became a saint, then a king with a spring melody and enough family drama for a Shakespeare play. Who knew carols could be so complicated?
And that's just the start. This mix of different times, cultures, and music, it's everywhere in the history of carols.
Okay, you've got me hooked. I can't wait to hear more about these strange carol origins. What other surprises are hiding in plain sight?
It's kind of wild how these carols from so different times and places, have become like a part of Christmas. But it wasn't always a straight line, like take some of the carols we think of as super English.
You mean like Deck the Halls and God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen?
Yeah.
Those sound so English, right?
Exactly. But those are actually pretty new. The really weird ones are like Away in a Manger, A Little Town of Bethlehem, and even We Three Kings. Those all came from the United States, believe it or not.
Those are American. But they sound so English. It's like finding out apple pie is really from France or something.
It just shows how culture gets mixed up, especially music. And speaking of American contributions to Christmas music, there's Jingle Bells. The one with the sleigh? That wasn't even a Christmas song at first. It was for Thanksgiving.
Jingle bells for Thanksgiving. That's almost wrong to think of it outside of December and snow.
Yeah.
How did a Thanksgiving song become a Christmas thing?
It's a good example of how songs change over time. They take on new meanings. Maybe people liked the sleigh rides and winter stuff, and that fit with Christmas, or maybe it was just the happy melody that worked for both holidays.
It's interesting how the feeling of a song, like the tune and words, can change from its original purpose. But with all these changes, secular and sacred and all that, it makes you wonder, have we lost what carols were really about? I mean, singing "I Saw Three Ships in a Pub with a Beer" is way different than a choir in a church.
I see what you mean. Where we hear a song definitely changes how we feel about it. But even with the crazy origins and all the changes, carols still have this power. They make us feel things, connect us to something bigger.
Even if their history is kind of messed up. I mean, we sing about a duke who wasn't even a king, and angels singing when they just talked.
But isn't that part of why we like them? It's the stories, right? These carols, even if they're not historically accurate, they're about being generous, about faith, about hope, celebrating light in the dark. Those things matter no matter where they came from.
It's true. And the music itself, right? Whether it's like a finished spring song from forever ago or a brand new melody, there's something about carol tunes that makes you feel nostalgic, warm, maybe even a little magical.
It's all of it together, I think. The tunes we know, the words that make us feel good,
Yeah.
and singing them together year after year. That's why carols, that's why they stick around.
I think you're right. Even if we, laugh at the weird history and stuff that's not quite right, there's something special about hearing carols at Christmas. It's like a shared thing, a link to the past, a reminder of what matters.
Exactly. These carols from all these cultures and traditions, they make a kind of musical language that goes beyond borders and generations.
It's like all these random pieces of history, music, even scandal have somehow made this unique thing we call Christmas carols.
That's a great way to put it. It really gets to the heart of what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
How these songs make us feel connected to something bigger than ourselves.
It makes you think that the story of Christmas carols is still going. Every time someone hears a carol for the first time, or a new version comes out, or a tradition changes, the story keeps evolving.
You've got a point there. These carols are like living things. They're always adapting and being reinterpreted as they get passed down.
So what started as a way to make things fun in a pub,
Yeah.
or to celebrate spring, has become something much deeper, like a reflection of who we are, where we've been, and what we hope for.
It's quite a journey, isn't it? And as we keep looking at Christmas carols, we start to see them not just as songs, but as glimpses into history, culture, the human spirit, all that.
I think that's a great place to stop for now. But this deep dive has really got me thinking. Maybe we can pick this back up after a little break.
I'd love to. There's still so much more to uncover about these amazing songs.
I got to say, after all this talking about the history of carols, I don't know if I can hear them the same way again.
That's what's so cool about learning, right? You end up understanding and appreciating things more, even stuff you thought you knew.
It's like peeling back layers of, an onion, or maybe a figgy pudding in this case. You start with something good, but then you find all all this crazy stuff inside.
And sometimes that extra stuff makes it even better, you
Yeah.
know? Knowing the real story, the background, it can make the whole experience richer.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when I hear Good King Wenceslas, I'll be picturing this bohemian duke, no shoes in the snow, running from assassins and helping the poor, like an action movie, but with Christmas music.
And who knows, maybe you'll start humming a Finnish spring song while you're putting up your Christmas tree, thinking about good old King Wenceslas and his crazy story.
But seriously, this whole deep dive has shown how tough these carols are. They've been changed, rewritten, all that, but they still mean something to us.
That's because they're about something deep inside us, I think, like wanting light when it's dark, celebrating, kindness and giving, hoping for peace. Those things are bigger than any one religion or culture.
And that's probably why no matter who you are or where you're from, you've probably felt the magic of a Christmas carol, whether it's like "Oh Holy Night" or just the simple fun of Jingle Bells. There's something about these songs that brings people together.
And maybe knowing the real stories, understanding how they've changed over time, makes them even stronger. You know, it reminds us that even traditions have a history, a story, and those stories can be full of surprises.
So this holiday season, when
Yeah.
you hear those carols, those ones really listen. Okay, think about where they came from: pubs, churches, spring, winter, old stories, new versions. The whole trip.
And think about the people behind them, the composers, the writers, the people from history, and everyone who's ever, felt something from these simple but powerful songs.
Because really, that's what Christmas carols are, right?
Mhm.
They connect us to something bigger, to history, to tradition, to the feeling of the season.
Yeah, that's it. And as we wrap up our deep dive into carols, I want to leave you with one last thought.
Okay, what's that?
Keep exploring. Keep asking questions. Keep finding the hidden stories behind the stuff we take for granted.
Mm.
Because there's always more to learn, more to find, more to appreciate, even in something like a Christmas Carol.
And that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.